Charlotte, a 28-year-old waitress, worked at the cozy Sabor de Casa restaurant, a charming spot nestled in a bustling city neighborhood. Known for attracting everyone from local workers to tourists seeking authentic American dishes, the restaurant was always buzzing with activity and stories to tell. Charlotte was the heart of the place. With her warm smile and welcoming demeanor, she made sure to treat every customer like an old friend. But behind her cheerful exterior lay a harsh reality. As a single mother, Charlotte faced daily struggles. Her 6-year-old son, Miguel, was hospitalized, battling a severe heart condition that required an urgent and incredibly expensive surgery. Charlotte's wages barely covered her household expenses, let alone the mounting medical bills. Yet, she clung to hope, believing that somehow a miracle would happen. Between clearing tables, serving dishes, and attending to customers, Charlotte hid her worries behind kind words and thoughtful gestures, creating a welcoming atmosphere for everyone who walked through the restaurant's doors. On that Friday morning, everything seemed like a typical day. The restaurant was packed as usual, bustling with the comings and goings of customers. Charlotte moved skillfully, jotting down orders, serving plates and exchanging smiles. But in brief moments of distraction, the sadness in her eyes would betray her, as if her soul silently pleaded for a bit of relief. The manager, Henry, always made a point to commend Charlotte for her dedication. He knew she was one of the hardest-working employees in the restaurant, but also understood the heavy burden she carried. That day, as the clock struck 1 p.m., something unusual happened. A murmur spread across the dining room, and customers began exchanging glances and whispers, creating an air of curiosity. Charlotte, intrigued, looked toward the door to understand the commotion. And then she saw him. To her complete surprise, Tom Brady, the legendary football player, was walking into the restaurant accompanied by a few friends. The lively atmosphere, usually filled with laughter and chatter, fell silent for a moment. The presence of such a renowned celebrity in such a modest restaurant felt surreal. But Charlotte, true to her calm and professional nature, took a deep breath and maintained her composure. With her notepad in hand and a welcoming smile on her face, she approached Tom's table. "Good afternoon, welcome. My name is Charlotte, and I'll be serving you today. Can I start you off with something to drink?" Tom returned her smile warmly and made his drink order for the table. Despite the simplicity of the interaction, Charlotte couldn't help but notice how approachable and genuine he seemed, far from the untouchable superstar portrayed in the media. As service carried on, Charlotte continued to attend to the table with the same care and attention she gave all her customers. She didn't treat Tom like a celebrity, but rather like another guest seeking a good meal and a welcoming atmosphere. However, Tom's presence brought a wave of excitement to the restaurant. Customers snapped photos from afar, whispered amongst themselves, and exchanged excited glances. Charlotte could never have imagined that this day, which began like any other, would become a defining moment in her life. The restaurant was in full swing during lunch hour, with tables packed and the sound of laughter and conversation filling the space. Tom Brady and his friends chatted cheerfully, while Charlotte, ever attentive, ensured their table lacked nothing. She felt proud of maintaining her professionalism, even under the pressure of curious gazes and customers eager for selfies with the star. At one point, Tom raised his hand to call Charlotte over. Without hesitation, she approached promptly. "Is everything okay?" she asked with a smile, holding her notepad out of habit. "Everything's great, thank you," Tom replied kindly. He exchanged glances with his friends before turning back to her. "We're ready for dessert. Any recommendations?" Charlotte suggested the restaurant's homemade sweets, highlighting the famous condensed milk pudding, the house specialty. Tom chuckled and agreed, ordering 4 portions for the table. As she stepped away to prepare the order, Charlotte reflected on how surreal the day felt. despite all the hardships she faced, serving a legend like Tom Brady was a moment she knew she'd always remember. After finishing dessert, Tom asked for the check. Charlotte promptly brought the bill and handed it to him with her usual smile. "Thank you for the wonderful service, Charlotte. You've been amazing," he said, looking her directly in the eye with a sincerity that left her slightly flustered. Charlotte thanked him, nodding as she returned to the counter. She was used to receiving compliments for her excellent service, though she rarely felt truly recognized for it. A few minutes later, as Tom and his friends stood up to leave, Charlotte noticed he had left the payment and something extra on the table. Curious, she approached and found a note alongside the money. With trembling hands, she opened the paper, which read, "Thank you for the wonderful service. May God bless you and your family." Charlotte's heart raced. As she counted the money, her eyes widened. The tip Tom had left was astonishingly generous, far beyond anything she could have imagined. It took a few seconds for her to grasp the significance of what it meant. The tip amount was nearly enough to cover Miguel's surgery. That simple act of generosity meant the difference between life and death for her son. Tears streamed down Charlotte's face. With trembling hands, she pressed the note to her chest and sobbed with gratitude. The scene quickly caught the attention of her co-workers and some customers still in the restaurant, creating a moment of emotion that no one would ever forget. "Charlotte, what happened?" Henry, the manager, asked with a concerned expression. "He paid the bill, but the tip." Charlotte tried to explain, but the words seemed lost in her tears. Tom Brady and his friends were already outside when Charlotte, still in shock, ran to the restaurant door. There she saw the player getting into his car. With her heart pounding, she shouted, "Tom, thank you! You saved my son." The player turned for a moment, his serene smile lighting up the street. He made a simple peace and love gesture with his hand before getting into the vehicle and disappearing down the avenue. Charlotte returned inside, still crying, but now her tears carried a gratitude that seemed to flood every corner of her heart. The scene moved everyone in the restaurant. Customers applauded, while co-workers tried to comfort Charlotte, who wiped her face with her apron. "That was a miracle, Charlotte," said Henry, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "You deserve every penny of that tip." Amid the joy, not everyone shared the same enthusiasm. Carla, a co-worker of Charlotte's, observed from a distance with a look of discontent. "Seriously? He didn't even look at me, but left a fortune for Charlotte just for doing her job," she muttered to a nearby colleague. Charlotte, unaware of the criticism, asked Henry for permission to leave early to handle matters at the hospital. Clutching the money tightly, she knew she could finally afford Miguel's surgery. As she packed her things, Carla couldn't hold back and approached. "Congratulations, Charlotte. I guess giving good service is like winning the lottery now. Who knows? Maybe on my next shift someone will buy me a house, right?" The comment felt like a jab. Charlotte looked at Carla, surprised by the hostility. "Carla, this wasn't just about the service," she replied, keeping her voice calm despite the pain she felt. "I don't even know how to explain it, but this was an act of kindness. This money is going to pay for my son's surgery. He's in the hospital, remember?" "Oh, sure, always the struggling single mom," Carla retorted, crossing her arms. "It's easy to get sympathy when you've got a sob story." The staff began to notice the disagreement, and Henry stepped in, trying to calm the situation. But Carla refused to back down. "I just think it's unfair. I work just as hard as Charlotte and have never gotten lucky in life. It seems like only people with drama get rewarded." Charlotte took a deep breath, holding back tears. She didn't want to turn this moment of blessing into something negative. "Carla, I'm sorry you feel that way. I've never asked anyone for anything. But if you were in my shoes, you'd feel grateful too. This wasn't luck, it was a miracle." Charlotte's words resonated with those around her, touching the people who had been watching the scene unfold. A customer who had been observing everything from the start stood up and said, "Hey everyone, let's stop this." Tom did what he did because he saw something special in Charlotte's service. It was a good deed. We should learn from her. The tense atmosphere began to dissipate. Carla, realizing the stares around her, took a step back. "Fine. I hope this really does help your son." She walked toward the back of the restaurant, leaving Charlotte feeling uncomfortable but determined. Henry gave Charlotte an encouraging smile. "Go, Charlotte. Your son needs you now." With that, Charlotte left the restaurant, heading to the hospital with the weight of hope and gratitude in her heart. Do you think Tom Brady's decision was inspiring? And what would you do if you had the chance to change someone's life like this? Leave your comment below and share this story with your friends. If you want to follow more exciting stories like this, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And to bring good energy from the universe, comment "miracle" below. Who knows what will happen in your life?